The media is going after Donald Trump. How dare you say this? I mean, obviously, yes, we're dealing with the tragedy. He's looking for answers. He's asking questions, but nope, you can't bring up DEI. Gosh darn it. How dare you? I mean, you can't bring up DEI. By the way, you get CNN blaming him literally last night, saying, well, it's because he's been firing all these people, and because he's been firing these people, that's why we have a problem. So this pundit over at CNN, he put out this kind of nasty tweet talking about this effort that's being made to get rid of DEI and how they're just, slicing the government down because of it. And he had to almost immediately retract it because, they were still, unfortunately, trying to figure out what was going on. We didn't know how many people were dead. It was a terrible night, right? Really, really terrible night. And this guy's out there playing the blame game. And then you get Jim Acosta, who used to be over at CNN until he got fired. Oh, I should say, till he got sort of pushed aside. They offered him the midnight shift. Burning the midnight oil. I didn't want to work that hard. So Jim Acosta left. And now he's doing something else. I guess he's got a newsletter or something. He's reigniting his war with Donald Trump in a desperate effort to try to stay relevant. I'm sorry, Jim. I just don't think that many people are going to look at your newsletter. But, the reality, I should also point out, and the New York Post had a story on this, is that the actual hiring freeze didn't actually affect a lot of these people. Granted, you do have the FAA saying we didn't have enough people on. Like, there was only one guy. Why wasn't there more people? And again, that's what's going on. How is government that messed up that they don't have the proper number of people they're in charge of where the planes are flying? How could you not? I mean, that's pretty bad. And then how could you have a pilot who didn't have the ability to sort of respond and act quickly when you see the plane, right? Like the helicopter should be getting out of the plane's way. So there's a lot of questions that are being asked and that should be asked. But Donald Trump is in trouble and he's getting mad at the media again. So CNN is blaming him for having said that it was DEI that's responsible for the midair collision. And because he said that, they've started this whole thing. Chuck Schumer joining in on the act. Senator Schumer today, watch.
Mr. President, this morning, our hearts go out to everyone impacted by the horrible, heartbreaking incident at Regan, Washington National Airport last night. I've been briefed on the horrific incident at DCA and have continued to monitor the situation. My heart goes out to everyone who was impacted by this incident. I'm praying for the victims, their families, and our brave first responders as we monitor the situation. But I have to tell you, I just watched President Trump's news conference. Listen, it's one thing for internet pundits to spew off conspiracies. It's another for the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families are still notified. It just turns your stomach.
So that's the party line. Got it? Chuck Schumer said it. AOC followed it. I represent LaGuardia Airport as well as Workers for JFK. She writes, Trump gutted the Aviation Safety Committee last week. Air traffic controllers already understaffed got Trump's buyout this week. And within a week, they have an ultimatum to decide. It's not DEI, it's him, it's Elon too. So this came up at the press conference. And Caitlin Collins, who seems to be making a run for Jim Acosta's job there at CNN, got into it with the president.
Do you even yet know the names of the 67 people who were killed? And you are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane? You think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon. We're in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you.
Are you blaming your
I'm surprised coming from you. So I think he has a soft spot for her, but that may not last long. That may not last long. Another reporter asking a similar question.
On DEI, DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, you have to go by psychological quality, and psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden, and Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that. We're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior. And that's what we're going to have. Yeah, yeah, please, go ahead.
So he wants the best. What's wrong with wanting the best? Apparently he can't say that right now because this came up yet again as he was signing a bill. They still were going back to this.
Mr. President, if 64 people lost their lives last night, if you aren't confident that DEI had any role, why bring it up?
Well, all I'm talking about is competence, and we want in that particular position, we have to have the most competent people in our country because we're talking about lives. Now, it may or may not have had to do, but I don't like the fact that the helicopter was at the exact same level as the airplane. The helicopter should have been 1,000 feet or 500 feet above it or something below it. The plane was at 300 to 400 feet, or the plane should have been stopped because the helicopter could have stopped. The plane can't be stopped, but the plane was on a schedule that was, it was along a track. They call it a track. And it's the same track that every other plane's used for many years. It was going down and landing. And the helicopter got in its way. And if the helicopter was higher or lower or stopped or turning left or turning right at a quicker time, I mean, it turned, but it turned when it was too late. A tragic story. So, I don't know, do you blame it on the air traffic controller too, in addition to the pilots? Maybe the pilot's fault, they should have seen it. I would have thought they should have seen it because it was a plane that was loaded up with lights and everybody, you can see it from Kennedy Center, you can see it very easily. So all I want is the most competent people in our country to be air traffic controllers. It's a very important position, and other positions too, by the way. We're not only talking about that, but air traffic controllers, maybe in particular. They have to be brilliant with computers, brilliant with graphics. They have to be psychologically really, really smart. And, there are a lot of people that wouldn't be able to do that.
Really, really sad stuff. But he says he wants the best. He wants only the best people. And, maybe in determining who's the best, you should be focused on the qualities and the tests, right, that would make them the best as opposed to other things that might be serving as kind of a distraction. I don't think it's that controversial to say that, but clearly other people really, really do. I want to get to Tulsi Gabbard because she had her hearing today and we have a lot to talk about there. Before I do, just wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends at at Herzog Foundation, because this is a foundation. We can talk about Grand Canyon University too, because they do wonderful, wonderful things there. But I did want to flag that this year I developed a partnership with the Herzog Foundation, which I'm really, really proud of, because there's so much DEI that's been taught in our schools that's really crazy. I mean, and I agree with the president so wholeheartedly on this, that we need to get back to our core values and be that meritocracy. And what we're seeing in the public school system really doesn't embrace that. If anything, it's all about the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's a direct contradiction, if you would, with sort of our American value system. And so I think a lot of people, especially Christians in this country, feel like they are very much at odds with the ideologue that's coming out of these schools. And so for that reason, I just wanted to mention this to you guys. If you have children, or if you have grandchildren, or if you have friends that have children, and you're looking for a school and you're thinking about perhaps a Christian school. I myself went to a Catholic school when I was a little kid. It was great. I mean, it really, really was. It was a firm foundation, and I have just really fond memories of it. It's something that you should take a look at. It really is. And the folks over at Herzog can help you do this. It's called herzogfoundation.com. They have all kinds of information. I mean, they're really a trusted source, if you would, on American education, K through 12. They can guide you through it. They've, again, just this wealth of resources. They have an online publication. They've got The Lion, their new podcast. They've got Making the Leap, the new podcast. And it's basically just all of this advice and information for Christian parents who are looking to make this switch. And so take a look. Take a look. I'm very, very proud of this partnership. I mean, you want to think about how your family can really flourish with its faith and its community, and school's a big part of that. So in light of all the DEI stuff we're talking about, I thought it was worth mentioning this. herzogfoundation.com. I'll try and put that in the show notes so that you can see it. Herzog, Herzog, foundation.com.